Hi, it's Steph, and welcome to episode 3 of Hooked and Rooted at Home. We have been doing quite a bit of Christmas decorating, so I will share with you my inside Christmas decorating that we've been working on. I also have a recipe for some really delicious roasted red potatoes that you can use as a side dish for the upcoming holidays. We are going to cook some chicken tonight for dinner. I'm going to make a garlic butter chicken. I'll share with you how I make that, and the potatoes are going to be the side dish. I also have some amaryllis that I'm going to pot up that we picked up at the Home Depot last weekend. So let's hang out and get some things done. I was so focused on Thanksgiving that I didn't remember that I would need groceries for the following week. So we're gonna head into Aldi to get a few things. We only got an Aldi a couple of years ago, but it's now my favorite grocery store. So 2 things that I had to learn is that you do need to bring your own grocery bags, and the carriages require a quarter. So I always have my Aldi quarters in the car now. You just push it in and then the chain releases and you're good to go. These crackers are delicious. I picked them up for Thanksgiving to use with my charcuterie board. They remind me of the Pepperidge Farm assorted crackers, and this one here tastes like rosemary, delicious. So I'm gonna grab another one for the holidays. George drinks lots of coffee, which means we need to get lots of half and half.
They don't have the gallon version.
Yeah, that's what you need, I think.
Yeah.
And this cheese here I also used for Thanksgiving for the charcuterie board. It is delicious. It's a cranberry white cheddar, and I'm gonna grab 2 of them because the thing with Aldi is a lot of the items are seasonal, so they might be here today and not tomorrow. So they're $2.99 and I'm gonna get 2. And here's another really awesome item. Their chocolate is also delicious. And look at this, $1.39. They're always on sale. I don't think I've ever paid, maybe in the beginning I used to pay $1.49, but now they've consistently been $1.39. And they have the regular milk chocolate with almonds, which George prefers. It has a hazelnut taste to it. And I really like the dark chocolate. So they have the dark chocolate as well as the dark chocolate with almonds. And what I did last year was I actually included some of these with cards for Christmas for people like teachers, the mailman. It makes a really good little sweet treat to include with a small gift card. Aldi also has this aisle with just random items that aren't groceries, just different types of things. And I wanted a new candle. I've bought lots of Aldi candles before and I really like them. And the one that I had from last year, the balsam fir, because we have an artificial tree, I like to get a candle that smells like Christmas trees. And look how cute this one is. It looks like a vintage ceramic tree. These are $8.99. It says nostalgic tree candle. And the white one smells like candy canes, like peppermint. And this one smells like balsam fir, like a Christmas tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick one of these up for this year's candle. I really like seltzer water, and I found that this brand by Aldi, the Pure Aqua Belvie in the grapefruit and blackberry, I really enjoy. So if you like seltzer water and you haven't tried Aldi's, I would recommend it. So here at Aldi, they do sell national brands, but most of what you're going to find is their house brand. And I have been really happy with their house brand. So Simply Nature is one of the Aldi brand products. And then with the dairy, they have another one called Friendly Farms. I'll show you that. There it is. And we used to always buy the Silk almond milk, and this has been a really good alternative. It's a lot less expensive, and I find that the quality is really good. This is the candle that I had last year, the Winter Balsam. It smells really good, but at my store they only have the single wick small one for $2.49, and I kind of wanted this larger one that has 3 wicks, and those are $4.49, but they don't have the winter scent, the Winter Balsam. So I'm gonna stick with the vintage looking tree. And when you're done shopping, you wanna just return your carriage and you'll get your quarter back. And to do that, all you have to do is insert the chain and it pushes your quarter right out, and then you save it for next time. I went to Aldi for some chicken that I needed to make dinner tonight, and of course I picked up a few other things. This will get us through the end of the week, and then I'll do a full grocery next weekend. But I was glad to be able to find more of this cranberry white cheddar cheese and these crackers, because with the holidays coming up, they'll come in handy, and it's really delicious. And I've been really enjoying almond butter in my oatmeal, so I needed another one of those. But that's it. I'll show you what I do with this chicken for dinner. Now that it's dinner time, I'm going to prep the chicken that we picked up earlier. What I did was I took the chicken breast and I cubed it into little squares, and I have seasoned it. To season my chicken, I'm using salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And then I'm gonna put the chicken in the refrigerator and we're gonna get working on our potatoes because the potatoes take a lot longer to cook than the chicken. So when the potatoes are halfway through, we'll work on the chicken. For the roasted potatoes, you're going to need potatoes. I prefer to use the red-skinned potatoes. Now, how much you need really depends on how many people you're cooking for. I don't really measure anything, but I probably use about 5 or 6 large potatoes for our family of 4. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna scrub the potatoes and we're gonna cut them in little cubes. And then I will show you how I season them. So while I'm chopping the potatoes, I'm dropping them into a bowl of water. And some things are so obvious to me because I've been cooking for a long time and it's just what I do without even thinking about it. But George asked me, why are you putting the potatoes in water if you already washed them? And the reason for that is because potatoes will oxidize or they'll turn brown if they're not in water and just sitting out. Sort of like what apples do, right? Where they go brown. So as I'm cutting, I just keep them in a bowl of water so that doesn't happen. And now I will rinse and drain all this water out and season them. Potatoes hold a lot of moisture, so I did go ahead and rinse them and drain them, and I try to get as much of the liquid off as possible. And now we're going to go ahead and season them. I gotta get my spices ready. Now, for the seasoning on these potatoes, really easy. Salt and black pepper are the first 2. And then I also use onion powder and garlic powder. And I'm gonna show you my secret ingredient that makes these really delicious.
Ketchup.
Not ketchup. So I also use Italian seasoning. So these are the 5 base ingredients. And here comes my secret weapon. Smoked paprika. I use this stuff so much that I actually bought the largest size I could find on Amazon. I'll link it. I'll see if I can do like a kitchen or a hooked and rooted at home playlist on my Amazon store. But anyway, smoked paprika, it's delicious. So that's what we're gonna season these potatoes with. Now I'm gonna get a bigger bowl because this one's gonna be a little bit small for me to mix, and then we'll come back and do that. You'll need some olive oil so that your potatoes don't burn. So the first thing I do is I usually put a generous amount of olive oil on my potatoes, and this will also help the seasoning stick and coat the potatoes. And I'm also going to grease my pan. I'm gonna throw some olive oil down on that while I have it out. And then you salt it. Now potatoes need to be well salted. And I wish I could give you a measurement, but I just measure with my heart. I really don't know how much I use. I just kind of use what feels right. Some black pepper. And you can add the seasonings in layers as well. Once you toss your potatoes, if you need more, you can add more. Some Italian seasoning. Onion powder. Clearly, I'm not running a professional YouTube cooking channel over here, right? But this is just how I do it. And some garlic powder. And my secret weapon, smoked paprika. Then you toss everything. And if you think it needs more, you just add what you think you want to add. I think that's pretty well coated. And you can see that the paprika also will give it a nice color. Has a nice smoky flavor as well. Not too smoky, but just right. And that is it. My potatoes are seasoned, and now I'm gonna put them on my cookie sheet. So now that my potatoes are all done and seasoned, I have put some olive oil here on this foil that's lining my cookie sheet, and I'm just greasing the foil with it so that the potatoes don't stick. As they cook, they're gonna get a bit drier. So if you have a little olive oil on here and a good amount of olive oil on your potatoes, it will ensure that they don't stick. Now these, I have been preheating my oven at 400 degrees. So they will go in the oven at 400 degrees for anywhere from 45 to 50 minutes. And halfway through, I'll usually toss them or move them around so that they can cook more evenly. And that is it. And I get all of this seasoning and olive oil. And then you want to spread them out pretty evenly and like kind of almost avoid piling them on top of each other, because if they are piled on top of one another and you overcrowd your pan, they'll end up steaming and they won't get crispy. So you do want them to get crispy. That's how they taste the best. That is it. In the oven they go. All right, I have about 20 minutes before I have to move the potatoes, turn them, and start on the chicken. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that time to pot up this amaryllis. It's already shooting through some green, and so I wanna get it in dirt as soon as possible. So I actually picked up a little gift for myself. Last week I shared my Amazon gift guide with you, and there was a potting mat in there that I wanted for indoor house plants. This is to contain the mess. So instead of using a tarp inside, I'm gonna set this up and we're gonna use it on the counter so that I can give it a test drive by potting up my amaryllis. So it looks like they vacuum seal this bag to make it nice and tight. All right, so it's just a mat. And then you pinch the corners with the snaps to make it so that everything stays in the center. And that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and make myself some more space. We'll put everything in here to work on. Now I have these two really small bulbs of amaryllis that I had grown last year. And last year I grew some in some water. And while they did okay, it didn't help the bulbs grow any because the water didn't give them any extra nutrients. So this year I'm gonna take these small ones, and I found these small planters that I'm going to pot them in, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get some blooms out of them. And then here is the amaryllis that I picked up at the Home Depot. I purchased 2 of the Red Lion variety, and I'm gonna put them in these white pots. And I also picked up a white amaryllis that I was going to put in a terracotta pot, but it turns out that I've already planted something in my 8-inch pot. So I found another vessel that I'm going to use for that. But let's get working on these here. So I picked up some potting soil over the weekend because I do have some house plants that I also need to work on repotting, and I'm going to use that for the amaryllis too. Now when you plant amaryllis, you want to leave 1/3 of the bulb exposed. So I'll show you what that looks like. So put in a little bit of soil, nestle your roots into the planter, and then you'll just pack some soil around it until you get about there. Leave 1/3 of it exposed. You don't want to bury the whole bulb because you don't want moisture to get in here and rot your bulb. I don't remember what variety these are. I think one of them might be Dancing Queen, but I'm not certain. So it'll be a surprise when it blooms. Right, I think it doesn't need much more than that. That's pretty good. All right, on to the next one, and then when they're all done, we'll water everything at once. I'll tell you, this mat is working out pretty well. Otherwise, I would have dirt all over my counter. All right, looks pretty good. I am going to top dress these with some moss, but first the timer went off on the potatoes, so I'm gonna get this cleaned up, wash my hands, get the potatoes all turned, and then I will finish these up. All right, so I'm going to just move the potatoes around so that they can brown more evenly on all sides. It's been 25 minutes that these have been cooking. So they're halfway through cooking. I have a little bit of this moss left, so I'm just gonna use it on what I can, and then I'll pick up another one at some point next weekend. This is sheet moss, and I picked this one up at Walmart, but they have this at Michael's as well. It's just a pretty finishing touch. We turned over all the potatoes and they're finishing cooking, so they have about 20 minutes left, and now it's time to start on the chicken. The chicken does take about 20-25 minutes, so as the potatoes finish up, we'll have the chicken finished. This I cubed up, I seasoned, and I sat it in the fridge while we worked on the potatoes. And now what you have to do is you're gonna toss it in a little bit of flour. So I'm gonna take about a 1/4 cup of flour, and I'm gonna toss my chicken in it to coat it. Okay, this is gonna give it a little bit of a crust when you cook it. And I'm gonna mix it, and then I'll wash my hands and show you the next step. You wanna just get some of the flour on all of the chicken. Okay. Now I have some butter. You can use unsalted or salted. I have some salted butter here, which is what I use mostly when I do cooking. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple of tablespoons into my skillet. And this is what you're gonna cook the chicken in. So you wanna get it into the skillet and you wanna melt the butter. And when it starts to get brown is when you're gonna put in your chicken. All right, so that's just over about 3 tablespoons. Medium heat. You can see that the butter has now turned brown, and we're gonna go ahead and put our chicken in. And just like the potatoes, you wanna give them a little bit of space because you don't want them to steam, you want them to sear. It's been a couple of minutes, and you can see that the chicken is now starting to brown, so I'm gonna turn it on the other side. And if you have a lot of chicken, you might have to do this in batches. So for example, I was only able to fit this much in the pan without crowning it, so I still have a little bit more that I'll have to do for batch number 2. Quality control is on site to make sure that dinner tastes just right. Right, Rocco? Is that your job? Quality control? While I was cooking the second batch of chicken, I put the first batch into the oven to keep warm. Now what you're going to do is you're gonna add a little bit more butter to your pan, and you're gonna add your garlic. So I'm adding about another tablespoon because there's still some in there from when I cooked the chicken. And now fresh garlic would be best, fresh minced garlic, but since I don't have any fresh garlic on hand, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of this minced garlic. So you melt your butter, and you want to lower your heat just a little so that your garlic doesn't burn. So from a medium to a low heat. And I'm going to add my garlic rather. 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to throw the rest of my chicken in, and we're going to just combine everything. And this is how you get your butter garlic chicken. It is delicious. All right. You just let this saute for a minute. You don't want your garlic to burn. Very important, or it'll get a bitter taste. All right, dinner is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate it up. And we have some of the garlic butter chicken and our roasted potatoes that also turned out beautifully. And I made some steamed broccoli to go on the side. And there's dinner. Now, one of my sons really likes adding some of this hot honey to his chicken. So if you wanted to add a topping, you could, but it tastes delicious as a standalone with just the flavor of the garlic and the butter. My garden assistant is very much into not putting holes in anything. So we're gonna hang our wreath over the fireplace, and what he does, what is that, George? Is that a bolt?
I use this lag bolt.
Yeah.
I've been using this for years. I keep it in the same drawer. And if I go up from the middle of the fireplace, there's a spot where this fits in perfectly, and it's just wedged in there.
And
so
it
when
holds?
I'm done with it, I just pull it right out.
No holes.
No holes, no.
I actually made this wreath quite a few years ago. It was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I bought this frame on clearance at Michael's after Christmas. It was just greenery. It's a 24-inch ring, but it measures about 32 inches from corner to corner on the greenery. And I just put a bunch of picks in it. Some balls, some pine cones, and I think it turned out really pretty. I also have some battery-operated lights on it, just like the ones I used outside. And it just gives a nice glow on the fireplace. And here is my tree. I decorated this over the last couple of days, and my friend Janie over at Dig Plant Water Repeat actually just posted a video of Christmas tree special. So I had sent her a segment of the process that I take to decorate my tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert that here now for you to check out. Now, I love gardening and I have lots of evergreens in my garden. I rely on them heavily. But when it comes to a Christmas tree, we do have an artificial tree. And for a couple of reasons. One is that I can put it up anytime that I want and not worry about the needles drying. And secondly, the needle drop. I don't want to have to keep cleaning up needles the whole season. So it's just easier for us and it's just my preference. But our tree here is about 10 years old. This is a Martha Stewart tree that I purchased right when that LED technology came out. And the cool thing about it is that it will have colored lights, which the kids like, and white lights, which Mom really likes because I think they look really elegant and pretty. But my tree is, I think the theme is what you would consider rustic woodland. I really like these rustic ornaments, the colors of burlap and red, and I also like a really layered tree. So I will actually keep building and building the tree. I start with the ribbon, and then once I have the ribbon on, I will start layering the balls and the ornaments, and then I finish it off with some clips that have beautiful magnolias and poinsettias, as well as some floral picks that really just add lots of layers and dimension. By the time I'm done, the goal is to see as little of the tree as possible and to just see all of the beautiful and shiny ornaments. We got a lot done this week. We started last weekend with all of the outdoor decor, and then we came in and started doing the inside with the Christmas tree and all the other decorations. Now, I say all the other, but I am pretty minimal when it comes to Christmas decor. I'm pretty much done in here now. Also, when we were working on the outside last week and we made the planters and we got rid of our pumpkins from the fall, we had put them out in the woods. And we opened them up and left them for the deer. Well, wouldn't you know that the very next day, the dog started barking. Rocco let us know that someone was in the backyard, and I looked out there and I caught a buck eating at the pumpkins. So it was a fun surprise. I was hoping that they would eat them, and it looks like they do like the pumpkins. Seems like a good treat. But that actually wraps up episode 3 of Hooked and Rooted at Home. I am now going to light my new Christmas tree, vintage Christmas tree, pine scented candle that I picked up at Aldi earlier today, and enjoy the glow of the Christmas tree. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could give me a thumbs up. It really helps my video be shown to more people. And as usual, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. It's coffee time.
Yeah, it's coffee.
Yes, coffee time every night.
It's 8:30 at night.
Yeah, so we probably have a dozen cups, mugs in the cabinet. But he picks his Old Faithful with all of the chips in it. Yeah. Which mug is this? Is this your Dunkin'? This is his Dunkin' Donuts mug. Look at that.
Yep.
Makes his coffee taste better, right?
It does. I've had this cup probably for 15 years.
Yeah, and it still works.
Still works.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.